Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm the Housewife Historian, and we are here to talk the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I'm going to be talking a little bit in code today because if you watch my channel and you watch my live, yes.
Is the plane going down? Are we gonna die? Why are you saying I'm sorry?
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Lindsay the Housewife Historian, and I'm coming on really quickly to do a quick live with you guys because there is some tea going around New Jersey and some rumors, and I want to talk to it with you guys, and I want to see your comments. I want to know if anyone is hearing what I'm hearing. I have been waiting to talk to you guys about some of this because I was waiting for confirmation, and I got it today. So of course, everything in this video is alleged. Make sure that you guys hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, turn your notifications on. Sorry, I'm filming from my car because I wanted to come on and talk to you guys. It's hot out today, so I'm glad that you can join. This is why it's important for you guys to have your notifications on, because you never know when I might sporadically come on and talk to you guys about some tea that is circulating in the Real Housewives of New Jersey area, if you will. And of course, everything in this video is alleged, but we're getting rumors, and I got confirmation today that for sure filming for the Real Housewives of New Jersey has started. Now, yes, there are a couple of women who are wrapping up summer vacations. They're filming individually for the time being, but today was the actual first big day, quote me on it, you heard it here first, of filming for the Real Housewives of New Jersey. So this is a really big deal for a couple of reasons, because it gives us confirmation that we're likely going to be getting a lot of the same cast back, because it doesn't seem to be rumors. Why is there an airplane going over right now? I swear. I have the worst luck, guys. Hey, Yo-Yo. Hey, Catherine. Hey, Monica. How are you guys? Thanks for joining today. This freaking airplane. I have such terrible luck. I don't want to scream over it, but New Jersey is filming today, and that's a really big deal because of a couple of reasons. One, we've never seen the Real Housewives of New Jersey go on pause before, ever, and we've never really seen a franchise like New Jersey go on pause, only stay on pause for a couple of months, and then, start filming. It's a big deal also because the ladies have shown their vacations. We know that Joe and Melissa were just in Italy. We know that Teresa and Louie and the children were in Greece. So we're seeing interactions with their own families, but that's because, again, they're not filming as a group yet. They're only filming individual for right now. And likely that's probably because, oh, thank you so much, Yo-Yo. It's likely because of the fact that they're going to ease them into it. I mean, that would be my assumption. My assumption would also be that we're getting a lot of the same cast back. I can confirm Danielle for sure, 1,000%. So quote me on Danielle. She, out of the newbies, for sure, she's filming. I don't know if they're gonna do some shady stuff like they did before, where it's like, we don't know if you're going to be a friend of or you're going to be full-time until we film more or edit or whatever the case may be. But regardless, Danielle's filming. Again, the biggest thing I think people are going to be shocked about is that we've seen no adjustment to the cast, which is just really surprising. I think we speculated. If you guys didn't see my interview, but last night I interviewed Dr. Andrew. He does the Ivory Tower podcast. So it's uploading. I'm hoping it'll be on tonight because it's about 45 minutes to an hour long. But we discussed Bethany and Jill and how their reunion was produced. And likely it's because the YouTube numbers will show to producers and networks the drive the attention, people, the interest, and that can help them basically pitch their own shows. So I was thinking, Teresa has this cooking channel. She is New York Times bestseller 2 or 3 times, maybe even 4. Is it possible she's doing her cooking channel on YouTube to just show producers and show people how much of a connection and a following and fans that she has, because I initially thought that we would likely see a spin-off maybe of Teresa and Louie and the kids, because I mean they're like the modern day Kardashians in a way, like a blended family. You have four daughters, two boys, 6 and 6. Well, not 6 and 3, but not three, 4 and 2, six kids total regardless. That's a big family. That's a lot of content just from the girls alone, especially from them graduating. Gia is graduating college and going on now and specializing in law and immigration. So the girls are growing up, and that's content. That is, think back to Kim Zolciak, think back to her daughters. Young people bring in young people, and of course Bravo would want to take advantage of that if they could monetize off of it, I'm sure. But however, for whatever reason, producers decided they're going to move forward with the Real Housewives of New Jersey, and they have started filming. So what does this mean? I hope Danielle's going to be a housewife. She is the one who earned it for sure. Yo, I'm going to go ahead and agree with you 1,000% on this. She definitely has earned it. I think that I posted a long time ago, she did a Britney Spears' biggest fan. I know I've told you guys before, but she went on MTV and she tried out for who is the biggest Britney Spears fan. She wrote a rap, she performed it, and she actually won on MTV and met Britney Spears, which I think is one of the most impressive things to me, is that she met the old Britney, back in the early 2000s. And then we saw her on it was either MTV or VH1. She was like a Long Island girl that had moved to LA to try to make it in the industry. So we saw her there. And then she was on HGTV as well with her husband prior to the Real Housewives of New Jersey. So Danielle has been trying to work her way up the totem pole in the industry, I think, for quite some time. So she's really earned her dues at this point. She had a good season last year, as far as um thankfully she had thankfully her balls dragged out the door, because she was able to tell Melissa about the rumor, because I think that if that would have been a weaker housewife, she wouldn't have had the confidence or the nerve to tell Melissa face to face about a rumor about her and her relationship. And so Danielle really did the audience a solid. She did the audience a solid, because all of that was really going on behind the scenes. And we wouldn't have known about that as an audience if Danielle wouldn't have told Melissa. They probably would have cut it all out. Yo-Yo says, love Teresa's cooking channel. She's a great cook, and watching how playful Louie and her daughters are makes it really fun to watch. I love that. If you guys are Teresa fans, you should definitely go check out her cooking channel on the YouTube channel and subscribe. It definitely, it always helps when you have your own following. I think the network realizes that with Teresa. She's a very popular housewife. She gets asked to do some of the most, privileged things that only OG housewives get to do. She did Dancing with the Stars. She did the NFL commercial. She stood center with Kenya, and Kyle Richards was actually behind her. So she's killing it. She looks gorgeous. The children are happy. They're vacationing together as a family. We're not seeing lawsuits. We're not seeing unpaid bills. We're seeing a fabulous vacation to Greece. We're seeing international vacations, all entire families. Guys, it's not cheap to feed 6 kids, 5 kids, a family of 7 in Greece, international flights there and back, hotels. That takes a lot of money. And we're seeing Louis put his money where his mouth is, almost, because people were really speculating on if he had money, if he didn't have money, if he was into fraudulent internet, just like Jen Shaw. I mean, how many times have we heard that since we met Louis and found out what his professionalism is, what he does for a living? People have continuously compared it to Jen Shaw and what she inevitably ended up getting a 6-year prison sentence. But that doesn't seem to be the case here, guys. He's putting his money where his mouth is. We heard from Frank and Tanya on 2 T's in a Pod podcast. He said the guy has money. The guy, as bad as everyone who doesn't like Teresa wants Louis to be a piece of shit, he has money. So he's spending it. And I think that that's going to go somewhere with producers. They love that. And if you notice, Teresa's been posting online. Melania's been posting. They posted their vacation, some clips. They also posted their bathing suits, outfits, different things like that. Also notice that there are some family members on the other side of Teresa's family that liked some of her posts. I don't want to name anyone out specifically, but there does seem to be some action as far as it pertains to her Instagram posts and family liking them, which we haven't seen in months. So is that saying something? I mean, I want to know what you guys think as far as do you think that you are going to predict that we're going to see? Because I feel like it's sort of predictable a little bit with Joe and Melissa. We're gonna like try to see reconciliation with Teresa. I'm assuming that's what else. I don't know what else we would really see from them, unless if I'm not speculating about their marriage or trying to say give any bad nothing like that. But from what we heard in the podcast from Joe Gorga talking about not being happy, the way he said it was very authentic, but it is suspicious to me that they kept it in the podcast. Why would you keep Joe in Melissa's podcast talking about how he's not happy? And do you think I'm happy, like running around doing all this crazy shit that you have me doing? Why didn't they cut that? Because I feel like they have to have a backup plan. So like the backup plan is if the conflict and the problematic things happening with Teresa and Louie and Joe and Melissa isn't enough for producers, their fallback plan, their plan B, their Hail Mary is going to be relationship issues. Even though we've seen that before, we've seen it in, what season was it? It was the year that they filmed after the pandemic. They talked about marital problems that they had right before the pandemic when Melissa was going out and about with Margaret doing press, and she was out 3 and 4 nights a week, and Joe Gorga did not like that at all. And had COVID not have hit, she would still probably be out and about. Who liked Trey's post? I just didn't want to like name anyone, Trace, particularly, but I noticed that there was some activity on Teresa's posts from, family that not Melissa or Joe specifically, but, family that don't typically like her posts. So I don't know if that's a move in the right direction or if it is, I'm not sure. It's hard to speculate sometimes. That's why it's hard with Melissa and Joe. You don't know, like, I feel like nothing's off limits, right? And they will really try to probably get emotional reactions from Teresa because that's what production wants. That's what they want to sell. They want, Teresa has brought in a lot of ratings and a lot of money for that network. And she did help create it, whether Melissa Gorga fans or not want to admit that. Last night when I had Dr. Andrew from the Ivy Tower on, he's a Melissa fan. I know you guys have to give him a chance though. He's really nice. He's really smart. You guys will really like him, but he is from South New Jersey and he actually, he's from the area. And so I think he's more of like Switzerland. Now, here's another piece of tea I wanted to tell you guys. I'm also hearing theory that there might be some conflict between like Teresa and I don't know though. They're saying that they could be Dolores. There might be some like conflict there only to kind of pick things up, I think, because Dolores is in like such a good place and she's been kind of the mediator. She's like the Cynthia of New Jersey. Does that make sense? Anyone that watched the Real Housewives of Atlanta, you know what I'm talking about in a way. She brings a lot of lightheartedness to the show and the franchise. But I don't know. I just think for general purposes for the both of them, I just feel like we might see a little bit of conflict between the two of them, only because we never really have before. And also because if people are tired of Margaret, I just cannot even picture what filming is gonna look like for them. I just can't picture it. I don't know. I mean, are they going to throw the husbands in the mix? Are they going to get all of the ladies together first and let them hash it out? What is the plan here? Like, are we going to have a counselor? Are we going to lock them away for the weekend? Like, I need producers to do they have a plan? for getting these people together enough to work together to produce a quality season, because that's what we want to see. We want to see a quality season. Now, another thing people talk about, oh, people are attracted to the negativity of New Jersey. Is that what everyone, New Jersey's thriving because it's so dramatic and everything is so um passionate, if you will. But here's the thing, New Jersey, they're all connected. They all know each other. They really truly have authentic friendship. They know each other's mothers and uncles and aunts and cousins and children. And that gives a different dynamic to a cast that you're not going to have anywhere else. And that's another thing that the network has to consider, right? New Jersey cast has something that no other cast has, and that is the dynamic, the tangled web of people, the Manzos, the Judices, the Gorgas. Like, they are a small but big community of webbed of people that have known each other for decades. They're going to give more of an authentic, less manufactured feel than other franchises. Let's hope Teresa finally gets some peace within her family and we get to see real storylines from the rest of the housewives. I think that's like a perfect world. I just don't know what we're going to see from Jen Fessler. Like, I don't want to see her professing her undying loyalty to Margaret. That is like no offense, but once I found out that Fessler wasn't really a friend of Margaret's prior to the show, like, I feel like she gave me that. She just made me feel like that for some reason because her loyalty was so strong to Margaret. So, like, I just don't want to see that. I think Lexi's a very nice girl. She's very pretty, but I don't know if the network is not interested in her. Like, they don't give her confessionals. They don't really give her, they give her camera time when she's with Marge. I don't know if she's got something going on behind the storylines that would be interesting that maybe Marge and Joe could get involved in. I'm not sure what we're going to see there, but I just, eek. We've already seen Marge Sr. Eek. Are they going to force Margaret to maybe talk about her children? Like, here's the thing. Is the network going to be like, listen, you guys got to bring it. Ziggy has been on the move. She's been making rounds, doing podcasts, breaking the fourth wall, talking about production, talking about the favoritism with production, talking about being bullied by production, and basically talking about her. It was like a nightmare for her to work on the Real Housewives of New Jersey. And it's surprising because we don't really hear the ladies speak out like Ziggy did, but it should help give you guys a perspective, because anyone that has said, like, well, how come we didn't know about Melissa and Joe back then, and why is this all being brought up now, and yada yada yada, and it's like, this is why, because they had favors in the edit room. This is why you didn't know that they didn't pay their maid. This is why you didn't hear about their car dealer that was on America's Most Wanted. This is why you didn't know about the fake Chanel's, allegedly. Everything is alleged. But this is why, because they had a hand in production. And this is how everything works in the world. Like, we cannot think that networks are fair all the time. Like, it's all about the people that you know. And Teresa never watched the show, so therefore she couldn't really contest to the favoritism that was happening because she wasn't really giving it any time or attention. So she couldn't go back and be like, you know what, producers, I don't like the way that you edited this scene, like yada yada yada. She never called it. They probably had the most best, easiest person to work with in Teresa Giudice because she didn't even watch the show. So she had no complaints. How is she going to have any complaints? She can't, because she's not watching, right? So hopefully, though, Ziggy says those producers aren't working there anymore, that her letter of recognition was very, very strong, and that it may or may not have resulted in their termination. Did anyone else that's listening to that podcast with Ziggy on is it All About the Tea, All About the Truth? Do you guys believe about the producer rumors and the good edits in the edit room? Is that a real thing that's been happening on the Real Housewives of New Jersey? And now that these producers are gone, are we going to be seeing something different? But the real question arises, if they got fired when Ziggy left the show, it's been 6 or 7 years. Why haven't we seen a massive change? That's my only question. Like, why don't we really? I guess we did see a little bit of a change last season because We did get some scenes that didn't show Melissa and Joe in the bestest light, like normal, like when she was kind of in Ireland and a little bit tipsy, and she said she was gonna like drunk dial her ex-boyfriend. We would never have gotten that before if it would have been the same producers. So there are some things, that minor things, that the audience probably doesn't even realize that's changed, but that's definitely one of them. Yo-Yo says, does anyone else feel like that if Margaret was hired to solely stir up shit, she wouldn't be a housewife or be paid like one? When do we get to see her real fun family dynamic? Only fair to do so. I completely agree with you, Yo-Yo, and that's why I said, like, what is left of her Marge? She's ran her mother's storyline to the ground. She's ran her childhood. Her poor mom. And I always think back to the interview on Jeff Lewis where she like outed her mom for having bad teeth, and she was just an asshole. And if Jeff Lewis calls you an asshole, my God, you must be a freaking asshole, because Jeff Lewis is a little bit of an asshole sometimes. But I think that there is a lot more behind the scenes with Margaret's stepchildren than any of us know, than I even want to mention. The things that I have heard, oh my Lord, bad. Not anything she's going to want to talk about. Okay. I swear, we're not going to see family dynamic from her. I'm telling you guys, we are not going to see kids. We're not going to, because things are not great on both sides. Like, let's remember, guys, they were both married when they got together. So that leaves a lot of children and a lot of resentment. If you have a couple, both of them are in relationships with other people, and then they cheat together, the children obviously blame the other person. Then you marry them, then they have resentments towards your significant other about breaking up the home. So I don't think that we really realize the significance of probably how much their children were affected by the situation. Now, if I understand correctly, Margaret has one son that is her son. He is the young man that was working at the high class business that you can't get a phone number there for him, allegedly. But yeah, he works. So her real son was the one that was threatened. And it does sort of ruin the show. Not ruin the show, but it does two of things. Number one, Margaret comes for Jennifer harder because it's going to give her screen time. Because Jennifer is going to give her a fight. She's going to respond back to her, which she has every right to. She should tell Margaret way worse than she's probably told her. Margaret goes right for the jugular. She wants to get Jennifer emotional. One, it checks the box, because then she knows, okay, because they film a lot of stuff that doesn't make the cut. So if Margaret has an opportunity to get somebody, be problematic with someone that's going to be very upset, emotional, and or dramatic, then that's what she does, because then she's involved in the problem or the scene or the screen time, however you want to say it. So when she sees Jennifer and she engages with her, she immediately gets Jennifer like to a 10. She always brings up Bill's cheating. She always brings up the other woman, like low ass blows. Really, I mean, it makes everyone cringe except for producers. I don't know. They must love that shit because they think it's completely fine. But regardless, we see anyone is going to have an emotional reaction to somebody saying something like that about someone that you love, regardless, right? So until Jennifer gets beat up, like callous to the comments that Margaret makes, Jennifer comes back at her just like she should. But because Jennifer is passionate, Jennifer is beautiful, Jennifer is interesting, people are interested to hear what Jennifer is fighting for, because we see Jennifer also, she's kind of, this is what I like about Jennifer. She's very much what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong type of gal. I like that about her. I like that she's like humble, and I love that she's so kind. She seems really nice to her sister-in-law. I think so. I'm like, I'll be your sister-in-law. But regardless, when Jennifer's going off, how many fights have we seen on Bravo between Margaret and Jennifer? Because Jennifer really gives it to the, she's very passionate. A lot of times they were discussing her husband and her family. So automatically you have a sensitive subject that's going to take anyone from a 5 to a 10. Like, we're discussing husbands, we're discussing affairs, we're discussing 5 school age children. Then we're discussing rumors of, uh, you know, extracurricular activities with medicinal. It's just so much messiness that I feel like is targeted towards Jennifer, because then it's giving Margaret. It's giving Margaret clout. It's giving her screen time. It's giving her a reason. It's giving her a purpose, right? Because if not, what do we have left with? We have Lexi, we have Margaret, and we have Joe, but we don't have anyone else. They're in there in their home by themselves, and we don't have much else going on. And that's definitely a negative to her, because when you have someone like Teresa, who has 4 daughters, a rich husband, 2 sons, that's a lot of content that Bravo can go over there and count on getting a quality content that they can use. If they go to Margaret's house, they gotta either bring someone from the cast, or they have to bring a close friend over so she can recap what's been happening to the close friend. Like, her scenes are very predictable. It's not to be mean, but it's predictable because there's not a lot of other options, right? So we got Jen Fessler has become a filler in the sense that she's Marge's friend, and Marge goes and recaps all of her feelings to her friend, and the friend didn't make a full time. Jen Fessler said she almost quit because she was so upset that she was not a full-time housewife when they ended up filming. Allegedly, producers let her think she was going to be full-time the entire time until it came to the end, and then they let her know that she was not going to be full-time. And then we have a whole other thing we have to discuss about Rachel and John. What's going to happen? Because here's the thing. They're filming. It's August. They have like a month before their dirty laundry is probably aired from here to, I don't even know. I think that there is going to be a lot coming for them, in a sense of a lot of things are going to be revealed and a lot of things are going to come out about them. So I hope that they're bracing themselves, because I think that they have maybe taken advantage of a situation where somebody's voice has been silenced, and so they've kind of spoken for them. And we know that it's not been a great situation with the sons, with John and Rachel's son's mother, Brittany, right? And allegedly also the issue of John changing his last name. Very, very suspicious, guys. Okay. I'm sorry. But people don't take the time to change their names for no reason. Okay. And it's not because they're full of honesty. It's not because they came on the show and probably didn't give you a very accurate description of the way life was or is. Can we trust? If we don't even know your real last name, if you're really, first of all, it's insulting, because the Real Housewives fans and viewers and bloggers are PI times the 10th power. Y'all ain't getting shit past us, okay? Even if we aren't friends with other bloggers, around the clock, 24/7, somebody is working on something, right? We have a whole team of people that help each other get information, or look things up and confirm things and confirm court records and look this up and talk to this person. That stuff takes time, but there's a lot of us, and so nothing really gets past us. So it's insulting for Rachel and John to come on the show, and one, John changed her last name, and then 2, Rachel, she had that Bravo 1234 account. Kudos to Jennifer, number 1, for fitting that in the reunion. If you go back and watch Jennifer when she brings up the Bravo 1234, she squeezes it in there. When she says it and she brings it up, she squeezes. I forget what she said, but she was like, Bravo lover 1234. Like, she pointed at it, like made sure that Bravo had to show that clip, because it was like her whole statement, her whole purpose. And she made sure that we got to, hear the Bravo 1234 as being Rachel's prior account before getting on the Real Housewives, which didn't seem accurate to what she was telling people when she did a Q&A on her Instagram, and they asked her if she had watched the Housewives and if she had an advantage, because we know that she is friends with Brittany, Frank's Brittany, and I think that she has known Frank probably for a long time, and then in a sense Dolores and their whole dynamic. So Rachel sort of, she kind of got a little bit of a break thrown at her, I would say more so than Danielle, because Rachel was able to bounce off of the drama going on, around her, but at the same time still using her son, not using him, but like still having any of his adoption issues be brought into the storyline did not seem in good taste. A lot of people did not appreciate it. And it seems like that would be more of like a Hail Mary, a measure that you would take if you were trying not to stay on the show and you didn't have anything else going on. You were like, okay, we didn't want to have to do this. We didn't have to put our 16-year-old out in page 6 interviews, but we're going to. It's like, why? Nothing else? We didn't have anything else going on? Like, that might be a sign to producers like this. Maybe we shouldn't let viewers get invested, right? Like, where's the potential? We need housewives that have potential, right? We know that Bravo loves a housewife that lives beyond her means. I don't know if that's the case with John and Rachel, because we don't, her tagline was, I'm like too busy. What was it? I'm too busy running my own business to care about yours. But we really don't know what the Fudas do. They have like a valet business, I think, and we know that John's family has a tile business. Allegedly may or may not have given some free tile to Melissa and Joe in hopes of getting their name pushed into the Real Housewives franchise. And to be honest with you guys, if you want me to be completely honest, and in my opinion, it was likely John's friend that gave him the great idea to go change his name. And I would like to say you probably shouldn't take advice from that man anymore. Get a freaking publicist. If you're going to be on a national television show, I say this all the time. I want to write a book for Real Housewives, like New Housewives 101. If you don't have style, Jackie Goldschneider, get a freaking stylist. Quit being cheap, pay some money, and get a stylist. It will help you. It will elevate you. It will be worth the money. You're on national television, okay? Just like somebody else. If you don't have a publicist, if you don't have an attorney, if you don't have James Leonard, if you don't have somebody in your corner that's actively, working with you and production and your storyline and making, caring about your professional image, then you need to pay someone to do that, because Bravo doesn't give an F about John and Rachel's image. If they got one good season out of them, if that story about their son would have blown up, say, and been like this huge story and got all these ratings, they would have dumped in the next year. They would not have cared one tiny bit. And it's like, I feel like they could be easily confused into thinking that production or people actually care about them, and it's more about the money and the ratings. So you got to have a stylist if you can't dress. You got to have a publicist if you're new to the game, okay? Your brand's spanking new. You need someone to be helping you navigate a career with a national reality television. You need someone. Yes, these housewives' husband changing their last names, changing their ages. How many people do I have in this? I have 32 people in this room. I'm gonna do a TikTok on this. I might even do a series on this. But I uncovered some shady things that go on with people when they're trying to hide things. Because if you're not trying to hide things, you don't change your last name. You would go on national television and be like, yeah, before I met Rachel, I was on DRUGS. Whatever, tell your truth. You don't got to go into details, but don't literally try to change your last name because you had some kind of a felony charge and it's getting expunged. Let me tell you guys something about expungement. Okay. It sounds really great and it costs a lot of money, and there's a lot of stipulations that go with expungement. Typically, depending on the level of the felony, whatever level it is, the more violent or the higher level of felonies, the more time you have to have in between the charge and expunging the felony. So you can expunge the felony, but it's never going away. It's the internet. It's 2023. you might be able to take the conviction part out. You might be able to steal it so that people can't get the details, but people are going to know that you were arrested, likely. And you can't change your last name and don't think people are going to find that out. Did you guys, when you, if you have a child and you want to change their last name and you don't have both custodial parents present to do that, after you file the paperwork, you have to go in front of a judge. You have to like put it in the newspaper. You have to run it for so long and legally for so many days in the newspaper to give the parent, the other parent, the opportunity to contest it, as well as serve them with legal papers, usually from an actual sheriff. You have to pay the money and have the sheriff serve the paperwork to the parent. It's not cheap. So he didn't just like the way his new last name sounded. He did it for a reason. And again, it's insulting to Real Housewives fans all over the place because we all know that we are private investigators. You're not getting anything past us. And now you're going to have way more heat on you than you had before, John Fuda. Okay. About the age thing, we do have a house husband whose age is off online when you look it up. People think, oh, that's not a big deal. What's a big deal? You know that. Well, like the big deal is because it would change how old he was when he graduated high school and went to college, right? So it's always important, though, that we keep an eye on our talent. It's always important that we hold our talent accountable as long as we're nice about it, professional about it. Like, we do deserve an explanation. And I think that Bravo has to understand that as well. Like, I'm going to need you to ask John Fuda about his last name when you guys start filming. Okay? I'm going to need to see the paperwork, please. All of it. I want the receipts. Is Bravo saying anything about these former housewives spilling the tea coming from J Fox? I don't think so. I think that Bravo is basically they're making moves behind the scenes that aren't really evident to us as viewers. One great example is, if you guys noticed, they played back-to-back episodes of Below Deck a couple of nights ago. In the second episode, there was an incident with like a deckhand who was very, very intoxicated. He wandered into one of the ladies' room. She was on the top bunk. She was sleeping. She had her back to him. He was completely naked. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say that. He crawled onto the bed. The door was slightly cracked, and thank God production was there filming. Production intervened. He ignored. He then laid down beside her, and production had to go over and literally like, you got to get down. You got to get down. You got to, like, tapping him on his back, telling him to get down. He gets down. He is pissed. He slams the door and completely drunk and no clothes on. And the girl, I think trigger warning, like, I don't know what would have happened if production wouldn't have intervened. So this is Bravo's way of saying production's not that bad. What are you guys talking about? Who can, how could production be bad? Look at them. They just stepped in and saved this young woman from possibly an SA above Below Deck. They fired the guy the next day, I think, or that night, and he had to leave the boat the next day, or one or the other. He had to leave the boat, and then they fired him. But production made sure that the timing was right for that to air. I'm sorry, Bravo and NBC made sure the timing was perfect, because everything is strategic with these people. Just like Kyle and Mauricio's separation announcement, it strategically planned, right? There's no way around it. So I think that Andy Cohen wanted attention off of New Jersey. They wanted to get contracts signed, and yes, speak out. Yes, baby. Yes. Production is saying because of the fact that there is a lot of loose ends. And I think that either they did that on purpose to us at the reunion because they knew it was going to be a highly rated reunion regardless, because of all the tension from the season. And so they purposely didn't tie things up because they wanted to leave open ends for us viewers to be interested in the two coming back next season. If they would have completely hashed everything out and told each other to go F off, and Bravo would have nothing to go on this year. And I think that Bravo and the franchise has really been living on the backs of this conflict between Joe, Teresa, and Melissa. Just like they're good producers, they're bad strategic producers on specific franchises, which are the problem. That happened 2 seasons ago on the sailing yacht. It was a girl who did that to a guy. She has been able to show herself publicly since. That did happen, but this was new. This just came out, Catherine. I think it was last night. Because it was with the new captain. I think his name is Jack, if I'm correct. I'm not super familiar with Below Deck. I know that one of the other girls was Laura. Malaya knows she's taking pointers from housewives from OC and Beverly Hills. Thank you, Yo-Yo. You're precisely right in this, guys. I said this, there was a blogger, I don't want to like bring up her name again. I talked about her in a video that should be airing here shortly. You guys all know anyways, Candy Washington. She's a sweet girl. I was on a panel with her a long time ago on The Real Andy BH, and I heard about what happened to her. I felt really bad. I went over to her YouTube channel. Shout out Candy Washington. Her YouTube channel looks so nice. She's a sweet gal, but she reports on Beverly Hills, sort of like how I report on New Jersey, and they came for her. They got her channel demonetized, and I think that she has everything sorted out now. Hopefully, I pray that she does. I think she's actually going to have to move to Patreon because of this happening with YouTube. But it's important that you guys realize that these housewives share strategic information. They share contacts and they share resources. And Melissa and Kyle have been friends since 2011 at the very least. I always tell people, go back, watch the Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip, watch the dynamics between Kyle and Melissa and Kyle and Teresa, and your eyes will be opened. Also, it's important to know that she also said that YouTube didn't even really understand why her account was demonetized either. They really had no reasons for her. By the time she got to the people that she needed to talk to, they really didn't know exactly what had taken place for that. And I let you guys know that it's important to understand that sometimes you can have people in your family or your friend circle and they're like a computer whiz or they're like a coder or whatever, like, something in the tech world. They're real savvy on computers, and then you recruit them to your team and then you pay them accordingly to the things that you need done. So everything, when these accounts get demonetized and these things happen, like, it probably is more so somebody that's very smart in the computer internet area that is able to finagle things and make life harder for bloggers, or get their information, or dox them, or post or just harass them, bully them, send them DMs and tell them that their life is like unworthy. The list is endless, and they have an endless amount of resources on their end because Melissa's a very big family. She's a whole machine. She's a whole media machine behind her. And they've probably perfected it. I think they leave her out a lot of the decision making and the things that they do, because she just wants to keep her image good and clean. So she lets them do her thing. But yeah, trust me, everyone is working in favor of Melissa, because if you guys go back and listen to Melissa's podcast when she had her cousins on, like, they love that Melissa was famous. They love that Melissa, is on Bravo. Like, they get a little bit of a high off of Melissa's fame. So of course they're going to help her stay working and on Bravo, because maybe whatever kickback they're getting is worth it. You don't know what she kicks back, what they could be kicking back. Who knows? If you guys have any questions, go ahead, put them in the comments. I just posted a video. It should be starting at 4:30. It's probably going on right now, about the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and Kyle Richards, and some details about what's going on over there that I heard, and also a little bit about New Jersey as well on the video that should be airing live right now. I don't know if I'm live twice or what's going on, but guys, make sure that you comment. Let me know what your thoughts are. I want to let you know what do you guys think producers are expecting to get out of this season between Joe, Teresa, and Melissa. And if you were Teresa, how would you handle the situation? Would you forgive and forget? Would you just stay professional when you're around them and like maybe just cut your emotions off and just treat them like any other coworker? Or would you just never speak to them again? I mean, she could really potentially just never speak to them. If they filmed together, she could speak, but she wouldn't have to speak to them at any other time. Yo-Yo said, I hope filming from New Jersey will carry on until December so that we can see the holiday parties. I agree with you. I think that is likely probably going to be the plan, Yo-Yo, only because of the fact that they're just starting individual filming now. So they're probably anticipating everyone coming together. They're going to be like, it's Thanksgiving. Your parents aren't here. You're their only brother and sister. Film together. Make us some money. And they're going to use Thanksgiving or Christmas as pressure for Teresa and Joe to make up. I feel like they could potentially do that. I think that Joe and Teresa would be fine if they didn't have the third X factor of Melissa. Catherine says, yeah, she would never speak to them again. She just would not speak to them again. Yo says, in her place, I would stay cordial with the Gorgas, but I would never have a close relationship once people show you who they are. It's a great point. I agree. I think that we're going to see the Gorgas are going to follow Teresa's game plan from last year, right? They're going to play the new house. They're going to have Bravo film. They're going to do a party probably for their house. They'll do a party for their daughter. But sadly, I feel bad when they do that because they did Antonia's Sweet 16 and then we didn't see it. You know what I mean? So I feel like they shouldn't really do that because, one, they might hype Antonia up that she's going to be like, her party's going to be on the show. And does she tell her friends that? And they all sign releases and they anticipate that they're going to get to see Antonia's party on TV. And then it doesn't make the cut. Like, that sucks, kind of. Don't you guys think? I mean, I would feel bad if I threw my daughter like a huge party. I'm like, there's going to be cameras, tell all your friends, you're going to have to sign releases, yada, yada, yada. And then they film, they sign releases. These kids are hyped. They're probably thinking like they're might be on TV, right? And then we don't see any of the party. Like, that kind of sucks for Antonia, I feel like. And so maybe they should reconsider like her being the subject of their parties in case they don't make the cut. And then it also causes jealousy, I'm sure, amongst the girls because, we see a lot of Gia and Melania and Gabriella. And I don't think Antonia, like they were raised very, very differently. Even though they were raised by siblings, they very much all had very much different childhoods. We've spoken about this before. Teresa's children, were exposed to the world, and they were I always admired Gia for how responsible she was when Teresa went away. And even Teresa said that, like, Gia wrapped all the Christmas presents. She took care of the girls. Like, Teresa was trying to manage from prison. They were trying to film. Like, their family had a lot going on and their girls were not embarrassed. Like, their kids weren't embarrassed. And I feel like they loved their parents and they were like, that was enough. You didn't see them being like, Mom, I'm so embarrassed. They never said that. Never once. Her children are like amazing girls. I hope that Gia follows immigration law and like changes the world. That's why Melissa hates Trey. She works overtime and ends up at the same spot while Trey keeps growing in many aspects. Completely agree. Again, Yo-Yo, Trey has all these different options for filming. She has Louie's family. She has her daughter. She has the combination of their families coming together. She's got a lot of options for content here. When Melissa and Joe look around, there's not a lot looking back, except of people that owe them. When they look back, all they see is a big ass line of people they owe money to. Okay, that's it. So it's like, they got to kind of make new friends if they want to have any friends on the show. And then you start to lose the dynamic because that's why John and Rachel were perfect, because of the fact that Rachel already had an existing relationship with Danielle, sort of, but they all had Brittany, Frank's girlfriend, fiance, as the, mutual friend. So there was a connection there. John and Joe have known each other for years, been friends for 10 years. So that's why they were able to bring them on, and that worked. And they have remained allies to Joe and Melissa. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But make sure you guys let me know in the comments. Hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, turn your notifications on. That's why it's important to turn your notifications on, because you never know when I'm going to get live tea and confirmation. I've been like working on this for a couple of weeks now, guys. So when I got the word, I was like, I got to go on live. I gave a half-hour notice, and here we are. So I hope you guys have a great Wednesday, and we will chat soon, guys.